Hey guys, Coach Micheal, Burt, the Super Coach, every week coming into your life today. Monster Producer, you know that's one of our biggest coaching programs all over the world. We believe a monster producer is a legendary creature that combines multiple skill sets to dominate a market. Because of that belief, we've created one of the top coaching programs in the world for those sales professionals, business owners, solopreneurs, anybody who is interested in monster growth. And this past month, we covered a very big subject called how to fight through monster fatigue. When you're tired, when you're ready to retreat and contract, when you're ready to shut it down and you're not getting the results you want, how do you fight through when you're tired and fatigued and you're in mechanical or burnout mode? Today, I'm going to show you on this podcast a monster producer. Hey guys, Coach Micheal, Burt, the Super Coach, the Monster Coach. You can download these podcasts on Stitcher, iTunes, anywhere you get a podcast. And I committed to bringing back and really multiplying the amount of content that I push out. You know, people ask me why I do all the Facebook Lives that I do, why I do the podcasts I do. And here's what I tell people. I can't take 1,000 meetings in a day. I can't meet face-to-face with a guy in Minnesota today. I can't meet face-to-face with someone in New York City today at the same time. But what I can do is impact people through my Facebook Lives that get 1,000, 2,000 views on here. And not long ago, about a month ago, I committed recommitting to a couple podcasts I brought out 6-7 months ago, maybe a year ago. And one of those was Monster Producer. And I'm like, man, it's our biggest coaching program. We got 72 people in there right now that are either online through our Total Growth Academy or in person who are getting coached by me through Monster Producer. We just picked up a $100 million producer yesterday from Churchill Mortgage named Micheal Brown. Thrilled to have him in our coaching program. We got some of the biggest producers in the world that are coming to us because they want to be monsters, man. They want to dominate. They want to dominate their space. And so every month, every 30 days, I teach Monster Producer live right here from the Greatness Factory. We have 30 or 40 people that come live. I then move over to Cool Springs or Franklin, Tennessee and teach it again. I'm going to open it up in Nashville in January and teach it there. So I'm teaching it live for people to absorb. But what about the people who can't fly in? What about the people in other parts of the world? What about my friends that are in other countries that are in our Total Growth Academy? And so I'm doing this podcast twice a month on concepts that we're covering in our biggest coaching program called Monster Producer. And you can go to monsterproducer.com to check this out. Today we're going to talk about how do you fight through monster fatigue. Now, you're going to hear a lot of people say there's no such thing as burnout. And I agree with that. I think burnout is when you lose all joy or passion for what it is you do. And you lose all joy or passion for what it is you do because you have disconnected, in essence, from your purpose. You've disconnected to your vision. You've disconnected from the reason God put you on this earth to go out there and fulfill what your dharma or your destiny is. And because of that, it's become trivial and monotonous and boring, and you're just in a state of fatigue. Now, we're in November. You guys know I'm a former championship basketball coach, and I can't tell you how many times that I would see my teams be dynamic and growing, and then at some point, they would static and plateau. And then there's entropy, which is slow disintegration or dying. And so as a coach, I was constantly trying to get them to be in a peak state at a peak moment to have a peak performance to win the whole thing, right? And that was the whole concept of peaking. You hear people say, well, I peaked too early. I fatigued. I got tired. I got burned out. I got whatever. I got into mechanical mode. And so I'm going to give you some strategies that I use every single month. I just taught these to our monsters last month. These are some strategies that I use every single month to fight through fatigue, okay? One, you got to understand that feelings are real. Your feelings that you have every day. You don't feel like doing something. Those are real. But let me tell you something. That don't make them right, man. Just because you didn't feel like going to work today, that don't make it right. Just because you don't feel like delivering the goods today, that doesn't make it right. Just because they're real doesn't make it right. If you're going to be a monster producer, right? If you're really going to be a monster producer, then what you got to do is you got to get away from letting your feelings dictate how you feel every single day, okay? And I'm looking at who we got online right now. We got a lot of people out there. Jason Walbert, good to see you, my friend. You got to get away from letting your feelings dominate you. Your moods dominate you. You got to say, big time people show up. They deliver the goods. They dress up, they paint up, they spray up, they pretty up, they show up, man. Whether they feel like it or not. Not every performer feels like performing every night. No, I don't feel like motivating people every day. I love it when I was going to the MAC. Brandon, you'll appreciate this. Everywhere I walk around the MAC as I was working out in the morning, they're like, "Are you motivated?" "Hey, Mr. Motivation." I'm like, "Man, I'm not motivated right now. I came to the gym to get motivated, okay? I'm off the clock. I ain't motivating nobody right now. I'm trying to get myself motivated." And so how do we fight through monster fatigue? That's really what I want to teach you today. What if I told you could be measuring all the wrong things? This is what I taught our monsters this past month. What if I told you that what you're measuring? See, we brought a guy in, Justin Lefevre, to coach us and me about a month ago, and he had some great insight, I thought. Very worth the money. Great guy. He took me to lunch, and he said, "I think you're measuring all the wrong things." And I said, "What do you mean?" "We're measuring accounts receivable. We're measuring profit and loss. We're trying to measure customer engagement. We're measuring customer touches. We're measuring transaction detail." And he said, "Coach, why did you start this company? Why did you retire at the peak of your game to start this company?" And I said, because I wanted to impact more people on planet Earth. I needed to impact more people, right? My team was no longer enough for me. I needed more. And he looked at me square in the eyeballs and he said, "Well, you're not measuring that. You ought to be measuring how many success stories you have in a week, how many people your company impacted, how many games did you change, how many lives did you touch." Now, why is this important? It's bringing me back to something, right, I got to do, right? And when I get something I got to do, I write it down in my monster planner, okay? Some people I got to follow up with. Now, when you get tired and you get fatigued, you got to remember why you got into this to begin with. You got to get back to remembering that it ain't all about the money. It ain't all about the prestige. It ain't all about the recognition. You signed up to impact people. And if you sign up to impact people, you need to be measuring how many people you're impacting in a week. Did you impact 10 people this week, 5 people, 7 billion people? How many people? So I want you to start measuring in your company how many people, how many success stories you can collect in a given week, okay? Now, I had some yesterday. I sent them to my team. When I get a success story, I send them to the team because I want everybody on my team to remember why we're doing this. Why are we committing our time and our energy and our body and our heart and our spirit, our body, our mind, our heart, and our spirit? Why are we committing all of this? One word: impact. If we're not impacting people, it ain't working, man. And so what if I told you, here's what I want you to start measuring. When you start getting fatigued, I want you to measure the number of people you helped in a week. How do you measure it? Unsolicited success stories of people who email in, call in, text message in, Facebook in, LinkedIn. I got a message just the other night from Chase Singfield, who's in our Monster Producer program, said, "Here was my goal. Here's where I'm at. Here's my dream goal, and I'm very close, Coach, and we couldn't have done it without you." Bingo. That's a success story. We doing commercials in this show? You want to do one? All right, let's go to commercial real quick. I'm Coach Micheal, Burt, the Super Coach. You're watching Monster Producer. This is one of our biggest coaching programs. If you're not in it, you need to be thinking about it. You can go to CoachBurt.com. You can go to MonsterProducer.com. But this is where I coach legendary creatures, some of the top people in the world who want to dominate a market. Meets every 30 days. We also have it in the Total Growth Academy. And this week I'm sharing with you what I covered in last month's Monster Producer, how to fight through monster fatigue. I'll be right back for one more segment. Hey guys, Coach Micheal Burt, and I get asked all of the time, what does a good coach do? See, a good coach should engage you in a set of systematic behaviors that allows you to do something tomorrow you can't do today. They should find and fill your missing structures. They help you break through that ceiling of success that you can't break through on your own. And that, my friend, is why everybody needs a good coach in life. Check out Coach Micheal Burt's Total Growth Academy at CoachBurt.com. Hey guys, welcome back to Super Coach. This is actually Monster Producer, another podcast. I want to say hello to Will Webb, who is in Monster Producer. Proud of you, big guy. Thank you. Jason Wolbert for spending the day with me yesterday. The blue-collar coach. Kenneth Lackey, good morning to you. My wife, Natalie Davis, is on here. Natalie Burt's on here with me. Kermit Davis. What a great coach Kermit Davis is, man. Roy Frazier, Jason Wolbert. And what we're talking about today is how to fight through monster fatigue, when you get tired, when you get in a mechanical mode, when you feel a little bit of burnout coming on. And let me tell you something. I retired from coaching at 31 years old at the peak of my career, and people couldn't understand why. Well, what they didn't know is I started at 15, 16, 17. I was at Riverdale at 19. I'd gone 80 hours a week for 12 straight years. My passion began to evolve. And so what I feel, and I was getting in a mechanical mode, and I wanted bigger impact. I wanted to impact the world in a bigger way. And I could feel myself just losing my mojo, man, losing my swag. I was fighting off monster fatigue. And so I think about Kermit Davis, who's out there watching the show now. Great coach at Middle Tennessee State University, probably one of the greatest coaches in the country. And you know, even the motivator needs motivating. Even the people that are pouring out and pouring into other people need to be fed. Where? In the body, in the mind, in the heart, in the spirit. So I want to give you 6 or 7 ways that to fight through monster fatigue, or if you're coaching people to fight through monster fatigue. Here's number 1. I don't see anything as my job. A job is an occupation. Occupation is that which occupies your time and which you receive a paycheck for. You're basically renting your time and energy for money. And it's going to be hard to get motivated for that, man. It's going to be hard to show up, dress up, paint up, spray up, pretty up to rent this for money. I see my work as my mission. I don't believe in work-life balance. You've heard me say it multiple times. I believe in work-life integration. That's where all parts of my life feeds all parts of my life. I get energy from my family, energy from my faith, energy from my work, and I'm pouring everything into that. So number 1, if you see your work as your job, that's your first problem. You got to see it as your mission. What is the mission? What is driving you? What gets you out of bed? What keeps you up at night? What is the ultimate mission? And so see your work as your mission. Don't believe in work-life balance. Believe in work-life integration. All parts of your life feeds all parts of your life. Number 2, what about this concept of the hypocrite of potential? Is it not hypocritical for us to look at our kids and say, you got potential if you just did this, this, and this? See, I can't tell my 4-year-old daughter she's got potential if she's not watching her daddy reach his. What does she need to see? Now, most nights, not every night, but most nights, I sit down with my daughter and I ask her what her goals are for the next day. And I have my planner, my monster producer planner. She has her little book, and we write out my goals and her goals for the next day. In the morning, I say, what are your goals today, baby? Because I want to see her watching her father dream, stretch, strive, push toward his potential. Potential is kinetic energy that is stored until utilized. So one way I fight off fatigue is I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to tell other people. It's like you using an Apple phone but selling Samsungs, man. You can't tell your team that they got potential if they're not seeing you reach yours. They don't see you reading a book. They don't see you going to a workshop. They don't see you striving and pushing. And when I say that to adults, is your kids watching you reach your potential? Man, adults just like, oh, coach, man, it's a low blow. I'm like, hey, we can't be hypocritical, man. We got to push through, okay? Number 3, you don't have to have. I hear people say, hey, you just want your cake and to eat it too. Well, no, duh, man. What's the purpose of having the cake if you can't eat it? So do I want it all? Yes, I want it all in my family. I want it all with my friends. I want it all with my work. I want it all with my faith. I want it all in every area of my life, which comes back to energy management. Now, you hear me talk about a concept called crumbs a lot. Crumbs is where you exert so much energy into your work that you give leftovers to the people you love the most. And that ain't fair, right? It ain't fair to give leftovers to the people you love the most because you pour it into strangers all day long, or you pour it into your work all day long. So you gotta look for ways to manage your energy. Okay, and that has a lot to do with the time systems we teach, has a lot to do with how you start your day, what you eat, when you end. You're trying to save a little bit of energy for the end. Now, I've got another one. When you see a person clicking on every cylinder, I remember when I wrote the book with Coach Insel on the anatomy of winning, I asked him one day, Roy Frazier will appreciate this, I asked him, I said, man, where does all this drive come from? We went to bed at midnight, we wake up at 4:17, and he looked at me and he said something I'll never forget. It really stuck with me. He said, Micheal, maybe, just maybe, I've got 20 more years of productivity left, and I'm not going to waste one single second of those 20 years of productivity. I have places to go and things to do and people to motivate and games to win. I got to get up and go. And so I want you thinking about this. You don't see your work as your work. You see it as your mission. You can't be a hypocrite and tell other people they got potential, but you ain't reaching yours. You can have your cake and eat it too. Maybe, just maybe, you got X number of years of productivity left. We're going to exert as much energy as we can. What about the concept of self-actualization? Maslow said that very few people reach the concept of self-actualization. I mean that they are reaching their deepest human potential. They are pushing and striving, and they are becoming what God meant for them to become. I mean, they are literally clicking on almost every cylinder they have. Okay, now, Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Those are eternal gifts. If he took it literally, you could use your work to pass down things. You know, I think about the greatness factories that we're building all over the country. I got a big grand opening tonight in my hometown of Woodbury, Tennessee. You know, my daughter may run those greatness factories. How many people are coming in and out of those greatness factories where we manufacture greatness? I see greatness factories in Nashville and Cool Springs and Chicago and LA and Boston and maybe rural towns across the country as well for people that need energy. And so I'm trying to create a legacy here. I'm trying to create something that will live well beyond Coach Burt, okay? 2 more, and then I get you out of here. 1, I will not allow myself to become stagnant. I will not allow myself to become stagnant. What's the 3 states? Dynamic and growing, static and plateaued, entropic, which is slow disintegration. We got to remain fresh. What are we talking about? How to fight through monster fatigue. I'm giving you the things I do when I'm tired. When I'm tired, I start remembering this is my mission. It ain't my job. I can't be a hypocrite and tell other people to do it, but we're not doing it. I want my cake and to eat it too, right? I got X number of years of productivity left. I'm trying to self-actualize and reach my potential. I'm trying to leave an inheritance for my children's children. I won't allow myself to become stagnant. These are things that I tell myself when I get tired. We measure the number of success stories we have in a week. Because if you're producing at a high level, and I'm looking at all the people on here, Bo Scott, Jason Wolbert, John Ashford, Scott Lumley, Ivan V., Roy Frazier, Kermit Davis. I'm looking at all these people. These are all high performers, man. These are people that exert a lot of juice every day. And what happens is you're going to get some fatigue. There's just no way around it. And so I'm giving you my playbook when I get tired of what I do, okay? I'll be honest with you, man. I've been on the road this week. I had 2 protected days this week. You know what protected days means? They mean they were supposed to be days that I had no schedule. No appointments, no schedule. Both of those days got eaten up. Both of those days got eaten up with requests and demands, and I said yes. I said yes. I know my wife's probably watching this. She's like, why do you always say yes, man? Because I got to reach my potential. I got to self-actualize. I got to fight through fatigue. On the other side of fatigue is a deeper intimacy with you and your potential. On the other side of fatigue is a deeper intimacy with you and your potential. So if you're out there, you've been listening to this, guys, I get it, man. You want to be a monster producer. You want to be a legendary creature. You want to dominate your market. There's something inside of you that says you want more time, more energy, more freedom, more structure, maybe more money, maybe more control. I don't know what it is you want, but you want to be a monster. I want to encourage you. If I'm not coaching you, why not, man? I want to challenge you right here. Most of the people watching me, I'm coaching them in some form or fashion. If I'm not coaching you or you don't have somebody coaching you, why not? It may be time for you to ante up and get in Monster Producer. So that's the purpose. Go to monsterproducer.com. Every week I come into you live 2 times a month on Monster Producer. This is my biggest coaching program live at the Greatness Factory. Also online with my Total Growth Academy. I think you can get that, what, Brandon? $99 a month right now? $99 a month right now. You can get coaching from me anywhere on planet Earth. Everybody needs a good coaching life, guys. I appreciate you every week. Let me be yours. This is Monster Producer. Go out there and be a legendary creature. Hey guys, Coach Michael Burt. Here's the question for you. Why do you need a coach? So many people don't understand why they need a coach. Well, let me ask you this question. Have you hit a ceiling in your life? You see, we're either dynamic and growing, we are plateaued and static, or we are entropic, which means we're dying. A good coach will come along at that ceiling of success and help you bust through that ceiling. New insight, new strategy, new energy. And here's the real deal. They'll hold you accountable to the good intention you have. that you've been falling off the wagon. If you need a good coach, go to Coach Michael Burt's Total Growth Academy at CoachBurt.com. Sign up today.